Before we start the video proper, there's a couple of things that I forgot to show off in the last video. Beginning here in the Maclona mine, this wall behind the skeleton can actually be jumped through, and inside you'll find a tarantula, a heart container, and an extra life, and I honestly didn't know the existence of this until after I'd recorded the video. The other thing I forgot to mention is there's actually a better method of taking down the boss of Laboratory Part 1. If you double jump up with the boss or just after the boss, and then slash, then 9 times out of 10 you'll hit him, and even if you don't, you'll just phase right through his body, because for some reason this boss does not damage you in midair when all the others do. All you have to be careful of is that you keep it enough of a distance so that he jumps at you and doesn't use the instant alarm attack, and there you are, he's down for a perfect. And now that's taken care of, let's get straight into the main event. So here we are then at the final level of the game, Laboratory Part 2. Well, I say the final level of the game, technically it's just the second part of the level we were in the last video, but the game also kind of treats it as a level in its own right, so it's kind of strange. These gargoyles are flesh-coloured now for some reason, but there's no change, they still only take one hit to die, and they still give off hilarious facial expressions whenever you stab them in the face, like they can't believe they've been killed by a 13-year-old boy with green hair. And we have the first of 3 tricky platforming segments coming up here. These platforms will give way under Ricky's weight, and there's actually an invincibility diamond in that chest, but you don't really need it, because this passageway doesn't have much in the way of anything, other than a hidden 1-up, which is quite easy to miss the first time you play through the game. Also, thank God for the cling onto the ledge move here, which is lovingly ripped off from the Prince of Persia. Without that, I probably would have died more times than I care to remember on this stage. Honestly, although there are a couple of trickily placed enemies, the real enemy in the stage is the platforming. For example here, that's very tricky to do without getting hit, and to be honest I'm kind of lucky there that I didn't get hit. Also, if you get through it without getting hit, don't do what I did a couple of times and celebrate by double jumping right into the spikes and then falling straight into the pit. And it might look here like I didn't try, I just took a hit by jumping on the spikes. Not true, I did try and double jump that spike pit. For some reason, the button press didn't register. Sounds like a bit of an excuse, but I swear, it's true. This is actually the final room of the level. It's a very short level, excluding the boss fight, of course. But the spikes are back, as are the goddamn annoying electric bars, and they still make that irritating noise. And if you get hit here, just run through. That bomb thrower is a little badly placed, and he can hit you a couple of times. You have to make a double jump there. That was very close. Made it just by the skin of our teeth, which is a phrase that still doesn't make any sense. Took a hit there, but through this passageway is the final battle of the game, believe it or not. Ricky confronts Count Crimson, the Lunasystem is now shut off. Surely it's all over. Of course not, because, like any self-respecting evil genius, the Count has a backup plan. And his backup plan involves opening up the roof of the castle to reveal the full moon shining in the background. And now the Count is going to invoke moon crystal power, and he's transforming. But what is he transforming into? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No! It's an eldritch abomination, and we have to take it down! Go us! So here's the first phase of the final boss fight, Count Crimson, monster version. He looks kind of tough, but actually there is a really easy strategy to get a perfect on this guy. He fires fireballs at you and then shoots a crescent beam from his arm. If you jump over the fireballs and then duck or double jump over the crescent beam, you can get a free hit on him. The trick to this is to not jump too early, because otherwise you'll hit the fireballs that come out of his mouth, or too late, because then the fireballs will not bounce to the pattern here. And that's the end of the first form. Yes, I said first form, because like every self-respecting boss, he has a second form, and it's that time again, folks! If you want to beat this guy in a matter of about 10 seconds, all you need to do is stand directly in front of his face, double jump up, and keep slashing him. That's literally all there is to this boss fight. Even if his attacks hit you, just keep slashing him, and he goes down in a matter of seconds. But there's no real sense of accomplishment to beating him like this. Fortunately, there is another way. If, like me, however, you actually want a challenge with this final boss, then here's the proper method for defeating him. Count Crimson's second form has 2 attacks. This fire ground wave that he shoots along the bottom of the screen, and those purple projectiles. And the projectiles are the key to beating him. You can only ever have 4 on the screen at one time. If 4 are on the screen, he has to wait before he can spew out more, unless you're cue to jump up and smash him in the face. The thing that makes this difficult is the fire wave, and honestly, as long as you play defensive and you don't go for attacks unless you're absolutely certain that you can hit him, you'll get a perfect just like I did. And now we can do the Ricky Slater dance, because now we've actually earned it. Also be careful, you can take damage off the stump of his neck. So now, with the Count finally dead and the Lunasystem deactivated, the room is about to explode. So Ricky, Merle, and their father have to get out while they still can. But not Rosina, because she's decided to do a ultimate sacrifice type of thing, or a noble sacrifice type of thing. Because as she points out, she's not really Rosina, she's just a copy made in her image. And no, I'm not going to completely narrate the in-game text. Seriously though, God damn it, Ricky, this is not the time to argue for equal rights for simulacrums. I mean, the room is about to blow up! Priorities, man, come on! Also, I think Ricky has now developed Rosina's blinking defect. For Christ's sake, guys, use some eye drops or something, please! And this makes no sense. She just said she wasn't the Count's daughter, she was only a copy, and then she says, as the Count's daughter, it's her duty to make sure that his folly is destroyed. Consistency game, show it, please! I don't know, maybe this translation mistranslated it. Anyway, with a few last blinks, Rosina wishes to get the hell out of here, and that means we've got a Metroid-style escape sequence. Just to complete my thought from earlier, maybe in the Japanese version that was consistent and the translation has changed it. Who knows? Also, if you look at the level name, the game actually treats this officially as Stage 7, but I personally don't think it is. I don't treat it as such. This escape sequence looks kind of intimidating, but honestly, as long as you've paid attention to where you were going when you got up to Count Crimson in the laboratory, you shouldn't go too far wrong. If you're over 50 seconds on the clock to go by the time you get to the halfway mark where you fought some guy in a helmet, you're in pretty good shape to get out of here alive. And don't mind if you hang on the edge of platforms here. Also, these spikes are probably the hardest part of the escape, but even then it's not that difficult. And quite honestly, as long as you take your time and you're sensible, you shouldn't have too much trouble with this. Obviously, don't take too much time getting past the spikes. And if you have to take a hit, then by all means do. I mean, you have 3 hearts. And by the way, if you die on the Crimson boss fight as he's exploding, like I showed at the end of the easy way fight, you'll have 3 hearts. You also notice you don't have a double jump. They've stripped you of that to make this just a little bit more difficult, but even then, it's not that difficult at all. Look at that, we're actually at the end. And look at that, we've actually made it with 007 seconds to go, my lucky number. And with that, the mine collapses. Now, unfortunately, Count Crimson will not re-emerge to do battle with you one last time in a much more monstrous mutated form. Not that his mutated form could get much more monstrous. Seriously, look at the thing he mutated into for Phase 2. That is just an abomination unto God. Good grief. So that's it. The mine is down, the Count is dead, Rosina's dead, and we've won the game. And the moon crystal is going to the bottom of the ocean, where I'm sure it will never bother anyone again. Actually, it never will, because sadly, there was never a sequel made to this game. But seriously, how gullible are Ricky and Merle? If some great power sinks to the bottom of the ocean, all it takes is a team of deep-sea divers to retrieve it, and then suddenly it's a threat again. Sinking it to the bottom of the ocean is not the way to make sure it never gets misused again, Ricky. God damn it, has fiction not taught you anything? Also, speaking of non-logical leaps of sense here, how does Merle know what Rosina wanted when she never actually met her apart from 2 seconds at the end of the game? I don't think they ever spoke to each other in the context of the game. But then we get a nice little montage of all the people who saved, including, for some reason, the shopkeeper from Mr. Ben and the 11th Doctor, and also Ricky and Merle's parents looking nothing like Ricky and Merle's parents did in any of the rest of the game. Seriously. I kid you not. But Ricky looks into the sky, and we get our end credits, and that's gonna do it for Let's Play Moon Crystal. Well, not quite. Just a few final thoughts to sum up the game. I actually really enjoyed playing through this game again. It's hard, don't get me wrong, and it's not that original because it is basically Ninja Gaiden meets the Prince of Persia with the pulling up the ledge and the turning around mechanics, meets Metroid, of course, with that escape sequence at the end, which, by the way, was rather well implemented, in my opinion. But even though it's not that original, it's still quite a fun NES platforming romp, although it is hard, and if you think that I made that Count Crimson second form fight look easy, then don't kid yourselves. That was the first and I think only time I've ever beaten him without taking a hit. I was pleased as punch. It took me ages to work out his pattern. So that's going to do it for Let's Play Moon Crystal. I hope you all enjoyed it, and join me next time as we save the world. Until then, count away!